Welcome back to the channel. Today we have another ball review coming at you from South Point, the Phaze 4, 5. Same thing, maybe not. Today, we'll show you whether or not they're the same ball or not. But clearly they're not because they're different colors. I did bring a Phaze 4. We're gonna do things a little bit differently though in this video. I'm gonna show you progressions. Because you know, every ball video's gotta have some kind of tip, some kind of lesson to help you guys improve your game. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna see how different the Phaze 5 is from the 4 and learn about progressions. My Phaze 4 never did that. I've thrown this a little bit in the league. This thing rips off it. I did lay it out a little bit different for all you tech spec nerds out there. This is 5 1/4 by 4 by 1 3/4. And my Phaze 4 is drilled 5 by 4 by 1 3/4. So it's just a 1/4 of an inch different with the pin. Should not make that much of a difference in terms of ball reaction. I've also drilled 3 Phaze 4s and none of them have ever done what this one just did. I think the colors make a difference. If you like the Phaze 4, or if you didn't like the Phaze 4, I feel like you're gonna like this one. And oh my God, it was like love at first throw. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Phaze 4. I don't really know why. It never really wanted to hook in the right spot for me. That's very shameless. You gotta subscribe to his channel. He's over here, ball next to us, bothering us while we're trying to shoot this ball video. I'm gonna move another chunk to the left and see how much longer this ball wants to keep coming off it. That might come off it too hard. No, just enough. I talk a lot to Alex Hoskins, head of R&D for Storm. If you guys don't know who he is, if you're pretty into bowling, you probably do know. I told him, I was like, dude, this Phaze 5 is better than the Phaze 4. And he's trying to figure out what the difference was. Because obviously, both R2S Pearl, both the same cover. The only difference, to my knowledge, was the color. I don't know, maybe the gold in the Phaze 4 made it a little rollier. Because mine's kind of smooth. I had to drill a little stronger because I felt like it was missing the spot or not quite seeing it where I wanted it to be. When this one sees it, this one goes. So another one. I'm moving 3 off the last one. It was a little inside out. Still made the corner. Almost didn't really want to. I probably have to get into some micromanaging things. I'm gonna go to the Phaze 4 and we'll see what the difference is. It might be a little earlier. The Phaze 4 I drilled not too much earlier than this Phaze 5. I probably have like 4-ish games on the Phaze 5 now. Not a ton on this ball. So they should be pretty close in terms of lifespan. So from the same spot. It's a little slower. Yeah, I feel like it just feels earlier. Yeah, I mean, I did throw that one a little slower, but it feels earlier. Throwing it against each other for a couple of days now, and I don't know, man. Phaze 4, I think, feels a little earlier to me. Could be because of the brighter colors. I do believe the colors do make a difference. A lot of the brighter balls typically roll a little sooner and want to get off line faster. And then the darker colored balls kind of get down the lane and kind of shape off it a little better, in my opinion. Or shape off it more than the way I want to see it. Anyways, I'm gonna move 1 left off of that. Yeah, it just feels like it gets forward a little faster than Phaze 5. But man, Phaze 5 booms off. I'm gonna go back to the Phaze 5. All right, from the same spot as the last one. Yeah, that looked a little cleaner to me. Could it be the layout? Possibly. Do I think it's more the ball itself? 100%. I've drilled way more Phaze 4s than, well, obviously Phaze 5 is just my first one. I got Phaze 5 just a touch cleaner, a little boomier off the spot.
What does it smell like?
It smells like blueberries. It's always blueberry something. It's got a good shelf appeal. Aesthetically, it looks pretty nice going down the lane. Now when it hits the pins like that, let me make a better shot. I'm gonna move 1, because every time we 10 pin on tour, we move. My 4s never really did that when I made that move. I don't know. I can't explain it. The only difference is the color and the 1/4 of an inch in the pin. If I drilled a Phaze 4 like this, I don't think it would be the same. I need a bigger sample size before I can make a sound call on the difference. They're pretty close. I think 5 is just a little bit cleaner, a little more off it. May not even be cleaner. I think it's just more off it. So here we have the relatively new Supernova. We also have the Night Road, and I'm gonna try to figure out where these fit. I have a better idea on the Supernova. It's obviously a stronger ball, stronger cover, it's a solid cover, stronger core. The ball's gonna wanna hook earlier, and given what we're bowling on right now, it might not be too bad. So I'm gonna move right. I know that probably doesn't make sense. More hook, why would you move right? I wanna get a little closer to where it's gonna blend out better, and I don't want it to use too much energy to try to hook, because it's a lot easier for the cleaner balls to use energy later down the lane. So it blends off pretty nice off the friction. Bowling on the easier stuff is a different game. I feel like you gotta play the game a little differently. Normally we're using strong balls to blend out the patterns because they don't hook to the right, they hook too much to the left. But you can kind of do the same thing when they're easy. You always want to blend out the pattern because if you're not, your ball's probably getting too far down the lane. It's either hooking way too much when it leaves the pattern or it's not hooking at all. If that's the case, you probably need a stronger ball or a stronger hand position. From there, we're gonna move, and then if it doesn't look very good, we're gonna change balls because that's what we do in the modern game. Even then, that's leaving the pattern pretty sharp. So maybe the wrong part of the lane. For the stronger ball, I'd probably want to get a little firmer. But for the sake of progression-wise, we're just gonna move left. Only 20 shots have been thrown on this lane, so it's still relatively fresh. I'm moving 4 on that. I did catch that one a little more. So as far as the balls that I have here, this is where it gets a little tricky. So with the Phaze 5, we have the R2S cover. With the Night Road, we have REX, which is stronger than R2S. The Night Road's got the weaker core. This one's got a slightly stronger core. So it's almost, I'd say Night Road's still a ball down, but it's almost like, what shape do I want to see? So if you want that little bit cleaner, off the spot, a little harder shape, I feel like this is your option. If you want something a little smoother, but still wants to push down the lane, because the RG, Night Road's probably your answer. So down the progression line, it's definitely a ball down from the Supernova. That went miles longer. Did it come off the spot harder? I would say yes, but it just missed it. It didn't get off the spot early enough. So we bring it maybe a foot closer to us. It should shape the right way and go through the pins like the Supernova. But in this case, kind of like we talked about earlier, if we just throw it slower, it might get offline too hard. So we're gonna pair it with a move to the left. Even then, I probably overmoved. I think that was like 3. And that's kind of overkill for leaving a 10 pin. Usually I'll move 1 or 2. But just for the sake of overdoing it, I overdid it. And you probably don't want to overdo it on the house shot because there's a lot of oil.
Does that mean you should move 1 again off of that?
Should I move 1 again off of that? I think it depends because I made a double move there and I got it in the oil. I kind of rotated it more than I wanted to. So from there, I would probably stay in the same spot if I do it back to back because usually on a move where I move left and throw it slower, the ball reaction is completely different. So it being similar there, I'd probably feel pretty comfortable just dropping the speed a little more, maybe trying to roll it just a touch more. We'll see. It's not black and white. There are no absolutes in bowling, in my opinion. You always want to just play what's in front of you, and that's kind of the thought process that you got to go through every single shot. Like what Jesse asked, would I make that same move I would normally make on a half 10 or a behind the head pin 10 pin? Usually it's always dropping the speed, throwing it a little slower, maybe rotating it a little more, because the further you move left, the more rotation you're going to need to create those shapes. But it's always, got to play it by ear. I get a lot of questions all the time and they're black and white answers and I can't give a black and white answer. So we'll see where the Night Road compares to this Phaze 5 in this spot. We'll try to throw it in a similar manner. So that picked up a little earlier in my eyes, not quite as clean, and it's kind of interchangeable. You might have these two in a similar slot. For me, I would still have Night Road in a slot below the Phaze 5. And when we talk about slots, just what similar balls are in that range. I would fit Zen, Phaze 4, balls like that, kind of in the same category, same slot. You don't want more than one of those balls in that part of the bag. When I ball down, I'm going to things like Night Road, Wolverine Dark Moss, maybe a regular High Road or a High Road Pearl. And it's just creating, at least in a tournament bag, as much variation as possible. So if you're not seeing what you want to see, at least you have different options. If you have too many similar options in the bag and your look isn't very good, you're kind of limiting yourself and basically handicapping your ability to bowl better. The lanes are telling me that the stronger balls are looking a little better right now. Knowing that the house oil is ice, it makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna move 2 off of that. A little more inside out. The ball's looking in that front to back window that we're looking for. It's allowing us to move left and right, kind of miss a little bit with the rotation. Ball speed's a little variant. If your ball's looking in the right part of the lane, you're typically striking a lot and it doesn't really matter how far off you are. But if you're throwing the wrong ball and it's not hooking in the right window, your carry's probably gonna be really bad. The only hit that you can't really adjust for is the Stone 8. Everything else you can kind of explain and make changes so that your ball enters the pocket in a way that allows you to strike more. So now that we know where everything kind of fits, let's throw some shots with the Phaze 5.
See how far left you can get.
How far left? Oh, you saw how far left we got yesterday. I'm making a blind random move. Well, we can definitely go further left. Kind of hidden tidbit piece of knowledge. I don't know if you can search what the viscosities are, but usually the higher the viscosity, the thicker the oil. Usually you'll want to throw cleaner balls. So if the oil was a little thicker, maybe fire into the ice, which is just marginally thicker. The Phaze 4 would probably look better than the other two right now. Maybe we hit it with surface. That brings it closer to the other ones, kind of gives the pattern what it wants, or the oil at least. Lewis Naples. This is also the first ball I've thrown with the reactive gloss. And I gotta say, it doesn't feel too different than the 1500 grit polish. Visually, it looks the same. Definitely exits the pattern a lot harder than a 4K fastball. Okay, more surface. Hopefully our ball's hooking in the right box. Oh, that's left. This is kind of just telling me it's the wrong part of the lane play. Yeah, I think we need to move to the right. The last tip, play the right part of the lane. At least for what we're bowling on, this is probably kind of close.
Kind of close.
That's about as close as it gets. Man, I'm like on my toes every shot because they're so sticky.